WeatherScope. You may want to allow some extra time for the morning commute because you're in for some messy weather in parts of the Northeast. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us here at the Weather Channel. I'm Warren Madden.
And I'm Jeff Morrow. Boy, that's for sure, Warren. You also have some rain across the south. We call it the Sun Belt, but not too much sun in the last 24 hours. You know, wintry weather in the upper Midwest, almost a blizzard in some cases, and some stormy weather in the west as well. Let's first of all take you to St. Louis. Boy, there's a whole lot going on all of a sudden. These shots, of course, taken at the airport where there were as much as 2.5-hour delays. You can see some of the snow accumulating on the actual planes there. So lots of headaches there flying through St. Louis. This truck is spraying a saline solution. They're testing this out here, the DOT in Missouri is, rather than putting rock salt out, which really does a job on the roads and your car as well. And they're hopeful that maybe this will be a little bit less corrosive, but still do the job and get that snow and ice off the road. So if it works, well, that would be a good deal. I know when I lived in the north, oh, brother, I mean, you could almost count on the fact that your bottom of your car was eventually just going to rust out, even if you got it rust-proofed. And I got to tell you, you're going to be tested again. We've got a lot of snow and ice here, folks. The situation is we have an upper-level low spinning up here in the northern parts of the plains. A lot of wind, a lot of snow here. But look at all this moisture just running up along the eastern seaboard and eventually running into a rather cold dome of high pressure as the moisture goes up and over that cold dome where the layer is shallow enough, the colder layer is shallow at the surface, at least for now, in central Pennsylvania and even on down into western Virginia, parts of West Virginia and western Maryland. That's ice, and a little sleet may be mixed in here too, initially from Boston to Providence to Hartford, but the white shading from upstate New York all the way back through Fort Wayne, Indiana, Detroit, Michigan, that's going to be all snow. The orange shading here on our current weather map indicates where there is some ice at the present time. It has been all snow in Indianapolis, tapering off there now, but you ended up with about 3 or 4 inches. We showed you St. Louis, you ended up with about 2. But it's snowing around Detroit. You may end up with about 2 to 4 inches, more probably just south of town down toward Toledo. And there's heavy freezing rain in here, folks. We have a different perspective of that. Look at the comma shape here. Big piece of energy moving north. Freezing rain from Pittsburgh up to Cleveland to Canton, Akron to Youngstown. There could be significant ice accumulations here, while farther north toward Buffalo and across the I-90 over to Albany, it looks like it's going to be all snow. Again, snow here through the Midwest. But another snowy situation farther west, and here to talk about that, we throw it back to Warren.
We will be talking about the snow in the upper Midwest, but rain also the story in the Sun Belt. And there is that snow we were mentioning. Fargo, North Dakota, one of those places seeing the snow. looking very wintry tonight. It's been snowing all day long. Light snow continues off and on this evening. Roads in the area not all that good. A lot of blowing and drifting snow around. Travel being discouraged. Also very cold. Wind chills dropping to 10 degrees below zero. So quite a chilly night, and the wind really causing some problems as well. I just checked the observation from Bismarck, and wind gusts up to about 38 miles an hour, and that's blowing the snow around our low pressure system counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere. Lots of snow around. You can see still some snow going on around Minneapolis, heading over in towards St. Cloud, coming up in Fargo, reporting cloudy conditions right now. However, you come up to Grand Forks, over to Bismarck, we've got some snow and blowing snow, and then that continues on coming down into South Dakota all the way over to Rapid City. Let's expand the view out. Jeff was filling you in on what's going on here in the east for the most part, but there's a section that he didn't mention. He left it for me. Thank you, Jeff. Florida. Florida has been seeing some heavy rain as moisture has moved across from the Gulf of Mexico, across the peninsula, and out into the Atlantic, and we've seen what we call training. That is a meteorological term which basically says that the rain showers are going over the same areas again and again and again. Can lead to some very heavy amounts of rain, and we have seen that here south of Tampa, heading up in toward the Melbourne area. 6 inches of rain in some cases in local areas, and we still have flood warnings out here south of Tampa. So please be on the lookout. The Manatee River, for example, running on the high side. Out to the west we go now, and from Florida, and you can see we still have some showers in the state of California, and some showers heading, it looks like, toward Needles here in the deserts of Southern California. Farther to the north, some showers in the Central Valley, and right now we're putting a shower right at San Francisco. The reason why we're seeing the active weather pattern, our jet stream with lots of energy coming across and cold air coming down out of Canada. Very cold here in the center of the country, 15 and 20 degrees below average. Will it hang on until Friday? Let's find out from Jeff.
All right, Warren, let's go ahead and take a look at our forecast. We'll start you off with the Friday morning weather map. Now, again, we have 2 areas of low pressure here in the east, plus we have this upper level low and a surface reflection moving on down with this old wind and cold and snow here from the Dakotas into Minnesota. Very blustery, almost whiteout conditions perhaps in a few areas. Not real heavy snow here, but a general 3 to 6 inch snow eastern South Dakota as we head through the morning hours. But it's in the northeast where things are really going to get dicey. We're talking Boston, probably okay in the city, down toward the Cape, down toward Providence, but anywhere north and west of the city, out toward Worcester and Fitchburg and Leominster and out the Mass Pike, you're going to be getting into some nasty ice and some snow. Snow back to the Capital District, and it looks like some snow across much of upstate New York, mixed with some sleet and freezing rain tonight in central and southern south central PA, and then maybe hopefully going to all rain in Pittsburgh. It's been heavy freezing rain there. Probably not a big problem right in New York itself or Philadelphia, but not too far to the north and west of those cities. That's where you may run into the problems. Heavy rain, of course, along the coast, and a lot of what we're looking at up here to the north, snow through the noon hour, could be as much as 6 to 8 inches in parts of upstate New York. There's your overnight lows, looking awfully cold across much of the country right on into Friday afternoon. Warren?
Time now for our El Nino Focus, our daily report to help you better understand El Nino and its potential effect on weather patterns. Here's a report from the Weather Channel's Marshall Cease.
Southern oscillation describes what might be called the power behind El Nino. It's a seesaw pattern of surface air pressure at opposite ends of the Pacific Ocean. Normally, there's a region of high pressure over Polynesia, which is measured at Tahiti, and low pressure over the western Pacific, near Australia, which is measured at Darwin. Because winds blow from high to low pressure, the prevailing winds over the equatorial Pacific blow from east to west. In an El Nino year, the pressures reverse, and the trade winds diminish or even reverse. That's the Southern Oscillation, and it's those pressure changes of the Southern Oscillation that drive the El Nino. I'm Marshall Cease, the Weather Channel.
A messy mix of snow and sleet will make for some miserable travel conditions tomorrow.
We'll show you where you want to be careful on travel-wise. This is one you really want to watch tonight.
Yeah.
Check it out on right after your local forecast. Warren will have all the details.
Be right back.